somebody else talks or you can stare at them.
Okay, for real this time. Monday Night Live, Mexico Part 2. All right, so a few weeks ago, I had a special call for those of you who are serious about earning our annual Emerald Extravaganza, which is in Mexico this year. And I told you guys exactly step by step how to earn it and what you need to do, and then what your mindset needs to be while you are working toward that. And so I basically told you guys to make a list of 50 people that you would like to go to Hawaii with every single year the rest of your life. It doesn't have to be Hawaii, because most of the time it is Hawaii, but this year it's Mayakoba, which is equally as fun and nice. So, but if you would like to, 50 people that you would like to go on this luxurious trip of a lifetime with every year the rest of your life. Okay, so and then I had you guys spend the first several weeks connecting with them if they were like your colder market or whatever. And then within 30 days, you were supposed to have reached out to all 50. Now we are approaching that 30 days. And so a lot of you have already begun reaching out to a lot of these people. Some of you are still in the connecting, but here in the next week, then you're going to start reaching out to these people to present an opportunity, to see who's open, to start having conversations about the business specifically. And so I just want to check in and first of all, just address some mindset issues that are just inevitably going to pop up, because we're all humans and we all have unintentional negative thoughts that pop up. And I just want to equip you with what to do with those thoughts and help you replace those with more productive and more income producing and profitable thoughts instead. And then maybe do a little bit of troubleshooting about the process if you're putting the work in and not seeing results. I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why. Okay. So we talked a lot about focus on that Mexico strategy call a few weeks ago, and how really the one of the biggest determining factors of whether or not you would earn that trip and whether or not this strategy was going to work for you or not would be your ability and willingness to focus and drown out distractions and keep the main thing, and just keep it simple and not allow shiny things to grab your attention or distract you from what is the most important. Okay. So it's going to require you to get out of your comfort zone, because it is uncomfortable to start engaging in this process. But also, when 90% of distractions that we have in our business are actually allowed, when they're internal distractions, they're not external. External would be like your phone rings and it feels urgent. That's a distraction, but that's not what happens most of the time. Most of the time, the distractions come from, I wonder what XYZ, let me go check. I wonder this, let me go check. They're internal and they're allowed, meaning like they're not outside of your control. They're totally within your control, but you allow them because you want to avoid something that makes you feel uncomfortable. And if you want to earn this Mexico trip, or if you've already earned the Mexico trip, but you want to build momentum and you want to build it quickly and you want to go on this trip as your next rank, then you're not going to have the luxury of allowing yourself distractions. You're going to have to stay focused. All right. Here's one thing I did a couple of weeks ago. No, I think it was last week. I asked a few of my leaders who asked a few of you just a few simple questions so that I could just kind of get some feelers for what mindset issues may be popping up. And what the first question that I asked was a few of you to fill in the blank. If I don't create a new business builder this month, it will be because blank. And so I got various answers back on a scale from like not confident at all to the point where I'm like, I'm not even engaging in the process, all the way to the only way I'm not going to create a business builder is if I'm in a coma or I died. That's the level of confidence. And that was one person. Guess which person that was? It was Christina. All right. So anyways, but most people are somewhere in between, like I'd say there are outliers, right? Like 10% of you probably have no confidence to the point where you're not engaging in the process at all. And then a very small fraction are so confident that they feel like the only way they're not going to create a business builder this month is that they die or they're unconscious. 80% are probably somewhere in the middle. Okay. So the first thought being, if I don't create a business builder this month, it'll be because I allowed myself to get distracted from the process because it's uncomfortable. Now, most people are not that self-aware or not that honest, okay? But that is a reality. If you did get distracted from this process, if you didn't engage in it at all, it is likely because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Like you could have a fear of rejection, a fear of what people think. A fear that you're not going to do it right or you're going to look stupid or whatever, which goes back to fear of what people think. And somebody might be thinking, if I don't create a business builder this month, it'll be because I didn't engage in the process because I lack belief that someone else could be successful at this, or that I could help them be successful at this, or that someone would actually be willing to put in the work that it's going to take to be successful at this. So those are limiting beliefs. Some of you thought, if I don't create a business builder this month, it won't be because I didn't engage in the process. It will be because I just didn't do it right. There was I did do the work. I did engage with my list of 50 people that I want to be on this trip with every year the rest of my life. And I did reach out to all 50 of them, but I didn't do something right because I didn't get the results that I was expecting. Or you could be thinking, I engaged in this process consistently, but I didn't do it with enough people, which that could be true. Some of you might feel more confident. Some of you might feel like I engaged in the process consistently, and if I didn't create a business builder this month, I'm confident that I'll have one next month because I'm confident that this process is effective, that it works, and I believe that what I'm doing is working. And maybe the timing was off this month for certain people, but I do believe that I will see fruit from the work that I am putting in. So those are kind of the range of thoughts and confidence levels that I was getting back from people. So here's what I want to tell you guys. If you engage in this process, month one could be it could be a learning process. It could be like the learning phase for you. The most important thing for you to do is to regroup. Like, you don't give up. That's the only way to guarantee that you're not going to create a business builder in going forward, is to just give up. But what a lot of people are going to do if they don't reach that goal, like if they set their sights on that goal and they reached out to their list of 50 that they've been engaging with all month and they put all of the work in and they didn't reach that goal of creating a new business builder, what the temptation for 99% of people to do is to be uncomfortable, allow distractions, because you're uncomfortable with your emotions. Like, you're going to tell yourself various things. You could be telling yourself, no one wants to join me. So that comes from like a root of insecurity. And that is probably not true. But if you're seeing other people get joins or business builders and you feel like, oh, I'm doing the work, I engaged in the process, I did what they said to do, but I didn't get the results, must be me, that's the problem. That is a thought that is going to cost you a lot of money in the short term and in the long term, and it's not true. So if that is your natural tendency, just be aware of it. And because the result of that thought, if you're sitting there thinking, no one wants to join me, no one wants to do this with me, or why would they want to do this with me when they could do it with so-and-so? I mean, I've had these thoughts before, for sure. And let me tell you the results of these thoughts. It's going to cause you to stop sharing the opportunity. It's going to cause you to want to make yourself do something that makes you feel like more comfortable, makes you feel more confident, makes you feel like a good leader, makes you feel successful, makes you feel like you want to feel anything but that discomfort of I missed a goal, you are going to that thought of no one wants to join me is going to cause you to go allow yourself to be distracted by things that are plexus-y, but not the main thing that's going to get you to your goal. You're going to allow yourself to stoop back into doing what makes you feel good or makes you feel like you want to feel. If you allow that, then you're going to continue to get the same results. So I'm just saying, be aware of that. And I'm going to give you some thoughts that you can use to flip that. Another thing that you might be tempted to think if you put in all the work and don't get the results is this process doesn't work. And the results of that thought is you're going to get distracted and you're going to start over with something else, some other kind of strategy, some other kind of process, some other kind of shiny thing that looks like you're going to grab an idea out of somebody else's team page or the Jewel page or wherever the case may be. I'm going to try this instead because that didn't work. Basically, you're going to go and start over with a different plan, a different process that also won't work because in just a month of doing it, that's just not enough time to gauge. The skills that we have to learn in this business, they're not difficult. They're very simple, but they do take practice. So it's not rocket science, and you don't have to take like a college class to master it, but it doesn't come natural to most people. It definitely did not for me. It took me a lot of failing forward and figuring out what did not work. I mean, I literally could write the book on what does not work. So if you're willing to keep going and not quit and just evaluate why didn't it work, then you can figure out how to get better. Okay. So don't fall into the trap of believing that the process doesn't work because we already see it work. Like there's already people doing it. I've done it in my business many times, and so have a lot of the leaders on this team. Okay. Another thought that you might be tempted to have is, oh my gosh, I didn't reach my goal. I didn't create a business builder this month. That means next month I got to create 2. The pressure is on, right? So now I got to double to make up for it. Here's the results of that thought, y'all. You're going to feel completely overwhelmed. You're probably not going to evaluate and actually make any changes. And you're going to get the same results due to a lack of focus. So remember when I said that a huge determining factor in whether or not you are actually going to stick to the strategy that will create momentum, maybe not in 30 days, but in 90 days, 120 days. Like if you wash, rinse, repeat this process over and over, month after month, you are, especially if you take the time to figure out why it didn't work the first time and what tweaks you need to make going forward, then it will build momentum and it will build quickly. And when I say quickly, I don't mean overnight. I mean, there is a lag between the time you start doing something very consistently and the time you see the results of that. Think about a farmer planting seeds and watering them and allowing them to have sunshine. It takes time for the seeds to be nurtured and grow, but the harvest does come. It just doesn't come overnight. Okay. So you just need to know that's a realistic expectation. There's going to be a 60 to 90 day lag from the time you start doing something consistently to the time you see the results of it. All right. So here are some productive thoughts, some thoughts that are actually going to make you money if you actually internalize these thoughts and believe them. Your thoughts do turn into beliefs. If you dwell on thoughts, they turn into beliefs, and your beliefs are going to determine what actions you take, and then that's going to determine what results you get. Okay. So when I say these are income producing thoughts, I don't mean you sit there and think the thoughts and make money. I mean, if you really believe these thoughts, you're going to then take the action that's then going to make you money. Okay. So sorry to disappoint you guys. Productive thoughts, money making thoughts. Number 1. I know how to create business builders, and I have evidence of that. That's for those of you who have created a business builder at any time in the history of your plexusing. If you've ever created one before, you can do it again. Okay. So if you're engaging in this process all month and you don't, for some reason, create one this month, you keep going and you tell yourself, I know how to create business builders. I have evidence of that. And you choose what you're going to dwell on. What you focus on expands. Okay. I mean, think about that. And y'all have heard me say this a million times, but if you are, let's just say you drive a red Kia and all of a sudden you're seeing all the red Kias on the road. Does it mean that because you got a red Kia and now you're seeing all these red Kias on the road that suddenly the amount of red Kias on the road are going have like drastically jumped up? I mean, obviously not. It's just that that's where you're focused. That's like where your eye is drawn to because you're focused on that. So what are you focused on? Are you focused on the results you know you're going to get, or are you focused on the results you haven't gotten? Because that is what, I mean, that's going to expand. So you need to, when you notice those negative thoughts coming up, you have a choice. The good news about mindset is that we have a choice. Like, you don't have a choice what your brain is going to feed you. Your brain's going to give you unintentional thoughts. It's going to give you a lot of negative thoughts. But you do have a choice on how you respond to them. So yes, you have a choice. Okay. So choose the profitable thought. All right. Another productive thought would be, I don't feel confident that even if I do take all the actions that I will actually create business builders this month, but I'm determined that I will be able to figure it out. And I'm going to focus here until I do. The key word being focus, and also figure outable. It's all figure outable. If other people can be successful at this, you can too. All right. Another productive thought. I didn't create a new business builder this month, but I'm determined to master this process and figure it out. Another productive thought. If she can do it, I can do it. Okay. So those are some thoughts that you can switch out those negative thoughts for, and they will be much more productive, much more profitable, and a much bigger blessing to you than to sit there and believe any sort of negative thoughts that your brain is inevitably going to feed you if you miss a goal, especially if you're looking around seeing other people who hit the goal. Okay. All right. So realistic expectations. Let me check time. All right. So if you reached out to 50 people about the business, odds are you're likely going to have somewhere between 5 and 10 say that they're open to hearing about it. Okay. Now, out of the 5 to 10, you should have gotten at least 3 of those on the phone or in person. And out of the 3 actual conversations that you had, not behind a message, not behind a screen, but like either on the phone or in person, out of the 3, then at least 1 of those should be working towards silver in their first 30 days. Okay. The other 49, you're going to continue to follow up with. Now, if a year later, that 1 silver ends up being an emerald on your team, was it worth the rejection of the 49? The answer is an obvious yes. So where are you going to focus? Are you going to focus on the 1 who went silver or is going for silver? Or are you going to focus on the 49? Because I can tell you what most people do, but you're not going to be most people because you are aware that your thoughts, you have a choice on which ones you're going to believe. You can choose to focus on the 1. Okay. So some of you did not pass go, did not collect $200. You got straight to work on your list, and you have already created new business builders since we had that Mexico strategy call. So congratulations. So excited for you guys and super proud of you. And I know that that was not an overnight thing. I know that some of you already had, warm market. You're like your list of 50, a lot of them were warm market. So you didn't feel the need to spend a lot of time connecting or building rapport. Like you felt like there was already trust and rapport there. And so you felt comfortable going ahead and presenting the opportunity and asking if they were open, and you just got right to it, which is fantastic. Okay. So Congratulations. Keep doing that all the way to Mexico. It's wash, rinse, repeat over and over. You don't let your foot off the gas. You just keep doing it over and over again, all the way to Mexico. Okay. And then you duplicate your process. Like, you need to understand, what was it that made me successful? How did I do that? So that all these people that you are bringing on as business builders, they can do the same thing. They can also create business builders on their team using the process that you have been using that helped you create business builders. All right, now, more mindset. If that is not you, don't fall into the comparison trap. Do not compare somebody else's chapter 20 to your chapter 1 or 2. Don't do it. It's so tempting, but don't do it. Comparison is the thief of joy. And you just can't, you have a choice when you feel like somebody is doing better than you, how you respond to their success. You can become jealous, or you can allow it to shut you down. You can allow it to make you think things like, she's better than me, or I'm not good enough, I'm not like her, I'm not enough of this, I'm not enough of that. Or you can allow her success to inspire you about what is possible for you. Guess which one the most successful people do? Don't be shut down by someone else's success. Be fueled by it. She just showed you what is possible for you. Because if she can do it, you can do it. Okay? All right. Some of you have been sharing the opportunity, and you have great conversations going. You have phone calls scheduled. You have coffee dates and lunch dates set up. So I love that. If you showed me your calendar, I can predict your trajectory in your business pretty accurately. Show me your calendar and how many phone calls, Zooms, coffee dates, lunch dates, events, all those things you have on your calendar in any given month. I can predict pretty accurately the trajectory of your business and where it's headed. So it's very simple, guys. How often are you sharing this opportunity with people? It's very, very simple. But so often, what holds us back in our business is not actually doing the things. It's allowing ourselves to be distracted by the things because we believe our negative thoughts, and we compare, we basically self-defeat before we even start. We quit too soon, okay? Don't allow that, all right? But if that is you, and you are reaching out to people, and you have your calendar is full of coffee dates, lunch dates, phone calls, Zoom meetings, whatever, way to go. I'm so proud of you guys. So if you have 5 actual conversations with people, like human to human conversations, not behind a device, then you should have at least one of those go silver in their first 30 days. Okay. And again, if that is not you, don't fall into the comparison trap. All right. If you do have someone working towards silver, great job. Make sure that they know the next steps. Okay. Because that's another pitfall that I see oftentimes. It's like, they're interested. Okay. They're like, okay, what do I do? What do I tell them? I don't know what to tell them to do. Do they make a list? Do they make a first post? My first step to tell them is watch the getting started video. And then let's get into action. And that could be either Christina just made a great video. I haven't actually watched it, but I heard from everybody else it was great. But it's a follow-up to the getting started video. So it's probably very practical about what to go and do. Christina, what is that video about? Is it like sample messages, or what is it?
It's just like when you have somebody that wants to share the business, what do you do with them after they've watched the getting started video and they're excited to start sharing, but where do they start? What do they do?
Oh, perfect. That's perfect. Thank you for
They can watch it, or you can watch, like, not you, Brittany, but whoever can watch it and then know how to instruct them.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that is incredibly helpful. So getting started, step 1, then watch that little 10-minute video that Christina made, step 2, but basically just help people get to work. Okay. But one of the biggest pitfalls I see is, like, you get them to the point where you've casted vision, you've overcome their objections, and they're saying, okay, I want to make money. Now what? And then you just kind of freeze. That it's very simple. Watch the getting started video and then they get into activity, and they can also watch Christina's video. All right. If you engaged in this process, reached out to all 50 after you have spent time building rapport or connecting, etc., if nobody responded, possible reasons: either A, your content does not add value, or you've not posted consistently. So I would check your content, ask your sponsor or someone in your upline to analyze your social media presence, because this process is not going to be effective if you're not adding value with your posts and doing it consistently. Okay. Or another possible reason is just because you lack influence, which there's a podcast for that. It's called Leadership. And there's a whole episode about how to become a leader that people want to follow. Very explicitly detailed about how to build your influence. And the third possible reason for that could be that you just simply didn't take time to connect. And we're reading an entire book about the skill of connecting with other people every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Come join us. Everyone Communicates, Few Connect by John Maxwell. Okay. So the content thing is the most easy one of those to fix. We have great social media training videos that will help you with that. But influence can be built, and the skill of connection, you can learn that. All right. If you engaged in the process, then and you did have 5 to 10 people who were open to hearing about the business, but you did not have at least one of them out of those people that were open to this conversation. If at least one of those people did not end up going for silver, here are some possible reasons why. Either A, you didn't get on the phone with them, or that's important. You can't skip that step. And we also have training videos for that. We have plenty in the team page about what to say on a phone call. If you need help locating one, let us know. Or B, you did get on the phone, but either you didn't cast vision, or you didn't truly overcome their objections, or you didn't actually give them the next steps. And here's how you can tell, like if you're on the phone with somebody, here's how you, and they're not like asking you, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Like I want to do this. What do I do? If you're not hearing that from them, then you likely did not overcome their objection. You may have handled their objection or responded to it, but did you actually overcome it? Like as in help them see a different perspective. Were you effective in helping them overcome, like get to the root of their objections that's holding them back from making a decision about whether this is for them or not? Get to the root of it, offer them a different perspective that will help them come to a decision. So if they're not saying, what do I do next? Then that's probably the root of the issue. You probably didn't overcome their objection. Okay. So then you would use feel, felt, found to follow up on the conversation. And if you did get on the phone with somebody and they were open to the business, but they're saying, yeah, I just need time to think about this, or I need to go talk to my husband about this, or I need to go and pray about this, I would still follow up with questions, because that's what makes people feel cared about. Like if you just spend time on the phone with them and then you don't follow up with them because you're scared of being pushy or you're scared of bugging them, and you just wait for them to come back to you, guess how they're going to feel? Like they're not very important to you. Ask me how I know, because I've actually made some major decisions in the past couple of weeks. And you know who got my business? The one who followed up. Okay. Because I felt cared about, I felt valued. And so if that is the case, if you're in that process with someone and you don't know what to say next, then I would just reach out and say, hey, I've been thinking about you today, and I just keep feeling a nudge to share with you this, but I'm not sure what your fears are. But I know that when I was starting this, I definitely had fears of my own. So I get it. My brain was, it's natural for our brains to just like want to keep us safe. And sometimes that serves us, sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, I'm glad someone was there to offer me a different perspective, because since they were willing to do that, now this opportunity has blessed my family in these various ways, and share with them what this has meant to you and your family. Okay. But also use feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel. I felt the same way. Here's what I found. But you're going to have to be willing to follow up. Okay. That's it for tonight, guys. I just wanted this to just kind of be a check-in and give you realistic expectations for what to expect going forward through this process. A, don't give up. And B, don't believe your negative thoughts. Think about what you are thinking about, because that is going to be a huge determining factor in the actions that you take, which will result in you reaching your goals or not. Okay. Don't allow distractions. Keep the main thing the main thing. All right. And let me know if you have any questions. All right, y'all. Good night.